New?
Not new to the board, but new to this committee. He's been appointed to, yeah, but we found out that him and I are not part of the quorum.
Okay.
And now he is.
So, before we begin, as you know, we are recording this meeting. Anything that is said can be for at a future date.
Shut down the chat.
All right, good evening, everybody. Like to welcome Marion back. Glad to see you that you're up and around.
Thank you.
Like to welcome new members Yuri and Zanera. And as Jeff is now officially a member of the committee as well. Just to bring everybody up to date, the first meeting that we held was basically going over the current bylaws that are in effect. And we stopped at Article 4. So our plan was to review what our current bylaws are, so everybody becomes a little bit more familiar with it. And then go back and start at each area, each article, to start to make changes, if any, in that article, and then bring that to the vote. So we can then move forward and bring it to the full community board. So with that being said, we're starting on Article 4, removal of member or officer. And subsection 1 starts with removal of a board member. A member will be removed from the board for cause 1, 3 consecutive unexcused absences or more than 25% non-consecutive excused absences or latenesses in 1 year, unless notification has been received by the board office prior to the scheduled meetings or at the discretion of the chair of the board. Now, there'll be some changes there are some suggested changes here to this first part right at the beginning. Item number 2 is failure to adhere to these bylaws and their provisions. Failure to declare a conflict of interest. 4 is soliciting, receiving, or accepting any remuneration, I can't pronounce that word, remuneration exchange for a vote, and or favorable or unfavorable disposition on any item under consideration by the board. 5, any form of board representation not authorized by the chair or the full board in violation of section 1A above. 6, felony conviction during term of service on the board. And 7, a consistent pattern of behavior unbecoming a board member. Letter B, small letter B, the process of removing a member of the board will be initiated by the chair and or by the order of succession of officers. 1, said board member will be notified in writing by registered return requested mail or by other communiques, for example, email, etc. The member shall then have the right to appeal in writing. 2, if after 30 days from the day of receipt of the notification of removal, the member does not respond, he or she shall be removed without any further action of the board. 3, if a member wishes to appeal their proposed removal from the board, said members shall have the right to respond to the charges and specification, the right of counsel, and the right to produce witnesses and evidence on his or her behalf. And 4, the appeal will be heard by the executive committee of the community board. Such hearing must take place within 60 calendar days of the notification of the proposed removal. After such hearing, the removal shall be voted upon, and such removal shall require a majority vote of the board. Article 5 is the executive committee. Subsection 1 is.
Sorry, I have a question with
Yep.
this. When you go to when you're in this article and you went to
Article 4.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh. I've lost my thought. I'm so sorry. And I'm trying to say
That's
down
okay.
here. 25% at the discretion of the chair of the board, right? Number one. So if that's the case, why would we have to bring it to full board? Only based on 1, 2, 3, 4, if there's an appeal? So you would have to bring only if they appeal it, right?
Remember I said at the beginning that there's some suggested changes to
Okay.
here? So that's one of the areas that
A little favor.
we're gonna
Oh,
come
okay.
to
Okay,
on this, on the next go around, okay? And I think it'll make it a little clearer. Article 5 is the executive committee. The board shall have an executive committee consisting of the officers of the board and one chair from each standing committee. Each member of the executive committee shall have one vote. The board chair shall, subsection 2, the board chair shall determine the agenda of the executive committee meetings. The executive committee may suggest agenda items. Section 3, notice shall be given to all members of the community board of meetings of the executive committee. Section 4, the executive committee shall have the ability to recommend to the chair that a standing or subcommittee be created or disbanded. Section 5, during any month when the full board does not meet, the executive committee may transact such business as necessary. Section 6, an emergency meeting of the executive committee may be called when decisions are required immediately during months when the full board does not meet. Notice for an emergency meeting may include telephonic, electronic, or other rapid means of communication, and notification of such meeting must be sent to all board members and appropriate elected officials. Such meetings shall be governed by the same procedures as a regular executive committee meeting. When time is of the essence, the executive committee may act on behalf of the board. Such decision will be brought to the board at the next regularly scheduled meeting. A, during July and August, when the board customarily does not convene, when time is of the essence and the executive committee must consider a resolution made by another committee before ratification of the full board, members of the originating committee shall be specifically invited to attend the executive committee's deliberations and be given an opportunity to speak at the executive committee. And B, if the executive committee revises another committee's resolution, any member of that committee may present the original committee resolution before the board meeting during the executive committee's report. There were some suggested changes to the makeup of the executive committee as well, being that there is issues with committees reaching quorum. So we'll have that as well. That's what this yellow sticky is about. Article 6, standing committees. This just names the following committees. It says there shall be the following committees at the discretion of the chair, including but not limited to, and it names the Economic Development Committee, Education, Library and Youth Services, Environment and Sanitation, Health, Aging and Social Services, Housing, Land Use, Parks and Recreation, Public Safety and Fire, Transportation, Resiliency, and Interfaith. There were some questions, Lucy, that you had brought up and some others about some of the committees as well, and we'll come back to that also. Subsection 2 of this article is each committee shall have no less than 5 members and no more than 11, all of whom must be members of the community board 13, or include up to 2 public members. And the chair shall appoint ad hoc committees as the need arises. There's some suggestions for this section as well. Article 7, district manager. This talks about the appointment of a district manager, suspension of said district manager. The staff, the district manager and the office staff must cooperate with the committee to review and shall be afforded the right to present witnesses or other evidence to the committee. That's talking about the suspension. Subsection 3 is discharge. After hearing the report of the committee to review together with any statement the district manager or member of the office staff wishes to make, the board shall determine if the suspension of the person involved is to be lifted or whether the persons involved are to be discharged. Such vote to discharge shall be by a vote of the majority of the board present. Facilities, this is basically just talking about the office staff and office supplies and equipment. Duties of the district manager, and this outlines the duties of the district manager and responsibilities and the oversight of the board chair as well. To preside at meetings of the district service cabinet and in conjunction with the district service cabinet, develop plans for improved service delivery and for facilitation and coordination of delivery services at the district level. 2, to serve as liaison between the community board and governmental agencies and the community at large. 3, process service complaints and coordinate all service-related actions and operations within the community district. 4, cooperate with, consult, assist, and advise any public officer, agency, local administrators of agencies, legislative bodies, or the borough president in accordance with the board's policies with respect to any matter relating to the welfare of the district or its residents. 5, assist the board chair, committee chairs, and co-chairs in carrying out their responsibilities, including A, guiding the board and its committees through the various phases of participation in the city's budget process and preparing necessary testimony and other paperwork. B, conducting research and developing policy recommendations as requested. C, attending and reporting on hearings, meetings, and public functions relevant to the effective and efficient functioning of the community board office, including any such hearings, meetings, and public functions which the board chair, executive committee, or the board shall direct the district manager or other staff person to attend. C, promptly direct all pertinent incoming communications or information to the chair, treasurer, committee chairs, and co-chairs, or other appropriate board member. 7, perform other duties as assigned by the board chair in accordance with the general powers and duties of the chair. Letter B, the district manager in consultation with the executive committee shall be responsible for the hiring and firing of the community board staff. Additionally, the district manager will, in parentheses, in January, perform annual review of district office personnel and recommend annual salary adjustments subject to approval by executive committee, followed by full board approval. Letter C, recommend and oversee a process for recruiting.
Sorry, I know you're reading now. So section B, does that read in full, hiring and firing by, and consulting with the executive committee followed by the full board, or is that just the salary part? Does both things reflect to the full board, or does just the salary section reflect to full board approval?
The second part of this, as I read it, it's the district manager performs the annual review. Okay, but the district manager has to work in consultation with the executive committee. Okay, about hiring and firing, and do it on his own.
Okay,
Is
but
that your
it
question?
doesn't have to come to full board. That section.
That does not say,
Okay, just want to clarify for myself. Thank you.
it's only about the
Salary.
income, salary adjustments and so on.
Thank you.
C, recommend and oversee a process for recruiting and hiring new staff should vacancy arise. Article 8 meetings. There were some just suggestions here as well to clean it up a little bit. Subsection 1 is regular meetings. A, there shall be at least one monthly meeting of the board on the fourth Wednesday of each month, except during the months of July and August. As such time and places shall be designated by the chair. In the notice of the meeting sent to the board members as hereinafter provided, unless scheduled meeting date falls on a holiday, in which case the meeting day will be rescheduled by the board chair. B, a quorum to convene any meeting shall be a majority of members of the board. C, all action shall be decided by a majority vote of those members present. D, all meetings of the board shall be open to the general public. The board may close such sessions to the public by a majority vote of the board. E, the board shall be guided by the city charter. F, in acting on uniform land use review procedures, the board shall be guided by the procedures outlined in Article 4 of the URA. That's one of the questions. There is no Article 4 of the URA.
Sounded good.
It did. The answer to that would be outlined in section 197C of the city charter. That's where it is.
What was that again?
We'll come to,
Okay,
there's no article full of the URLA. There's nothing titled URLA.
right.
Special meetings. Special meeting shall be a meeting other than the regular monthly meeting and shall be called as a result of one of the following. 1, at the discretion of the chair, or 2, upon the written direction of at least 1/3 of the appointed members of the board. And B, a special meeting shall be called upon at least 5 days prior by written notice, specifying the purpose of the meeting, agenda, time, and place. Only those matters specified in the notice may be considered. Subsection 3, emergency meetings. An emergency meeting shall be a meeting in the manner of a special meeting, but in circumstances where time is of the essence and decisions are required immediately and 5-day notice cannot be given. B, at least 48 hours notice must be given for an emergency meeting and may include telephone, email, or other rapid means of communication. Subsection 4, committee meetings. There shall be as many committee meetings as the chair of the board and or the chair, co-chairs of the committee may deem necessary and proper in the carrying out of its duties and functions. And B, all committee meetings are open to the general public with the exception of executive session as defined by Robert's Rules of Order. Article 9, the agenda. An agenda, subsection 1, an agenda shall be drafted by the chair of the board who may request the assistance of the district manager at least 7 days before each regular monthly meeting. The agenda shall outline the board chairman's and borough president's suggestion of business to be transacted at the meeting. This agenda, together with the minutes of the last meeting, shall be mailed at least 7 days before the next regular meeting by first-class mail or sent via email. No matter of substantial public interest or involvement shall be decided upon by the board without that matter having been placed on the agenda that was sent to members in advance of the meeting and pursuant to the notice as described above, without the consent of those members in attendance at the effective board meeting. Subsection 2, the agenda shall consist of the following. Public hearing. 1, in the event a public hearing is required or requested by the board chair or committee chair, Said public hearing will be held prior to a committee making its recommendation or resolution. This will afford the public the opportunity to be heard prior to a committee making its recommendations to the entire board. Subsection 4.040 of the Department of City Planning shall govern the conduct of all public hearings. In the interest of affording the maximum opportunity of all citizens to be heard, the chair shall limit the period allotted speaking time to 3 minutes for each speaker. A member of the board may ask questions, but may not at this time state an opinion without relinquishing his or her right to vote. 2, all members of the public that wish to be heard must register prior to the opening of the meeting. B, presentation speakers. And then it jumps to C, so I'm a little confused here myself.
I just noticed that.
Okay. Business session is C, general board meeting. The business session shall be that portion of the board meeting where only members of the board may debate the issue and vote thereon. Prior to the commencement of discussion upon an issue presented to the board, it shall be understood that board members shall be limited to a 3-minute time limit. The public is invited to be present as observers of the board's proceedings. 1, public session, open to all registered speakers with time of 3 minutes or at the discretion of the chairman. 2, elected officials and or representatives. 3, adoption of minutes of last meeting. 4, board chairs report. 5, district managers report. 6, communications and correspondence. 7, reports of committees. A, old business. B, new business. 8, good and welfare as defined by Robert's Rules of Order. 9, roll call. 10, adjournment. The order can be changed at the discretion of the chair. And we know that. Article.
I don't think we follow this 1 to
No.
10. We don't, right, Joanne?
Yeah.
But
We gotta start thinking. It was gonna be changed anyway by the chair, so it doesn't matter. But, back to B, presentations and speakers. I think that's part of the agenda. If there's a presentation being presented, I think that's what it's, we have sometimes presentations. So I think that's what that's,
all right, but
referring to.
it's just weird that it's
yeah, it's
standalone.
standing alone by itself, like
Well, there's
nobody knows what it
nothing else to
means.
put in there. You're gonna have.
Yeah.
That's it.
A presentation by X, Y, Z,
Yeah,
Got it, right.
I think you could say like at the discretion of the chair or committee chair or something, but
What, presentation?
yeah, but I think it's also fine when.
Agency presentations or something.
can't be
It
agencies,
looks
Okay,
very
so-
incomplete.
it's not always agencies.
No, it could
Okay.
be anything.
It could be, that's the speakers. Speakers could be agencies.
All right,
Okay.
move on.
Article 10, voting. Subsection 1, voting. Voting shall be by roll call vote or written ballot unless the vote is a unanimous vote, in which case the secretary will cast 1 ballot upon behalf of all voting members.
Yeah.
B, all voting at the board meeting shall be in person only, except as prohibited by executive order of the mayor or governor, as may occur during a public emergency. C, no proxy vote is permitted. Article 11, amendments. Initiation. These bylaws may be amended by resolution of the board adopted after 2 consecutive regular meetings by a majority vote of the board at the 3rd consecutive meeting. The full text of the proposed amendment shall be included in the notice of each such meeting. Amendments shall take effect for the following community board term unless mandated by an oversight. There were some questions about this last part as well. By an oversight agency, sorry. Changes in these bylaws may be suggested by any member by submitting to the executive committee the proposed change in writing. Article 12, rules of order. Subsection 1, the board may adopt such rules and regulation which it deems necessary to its individual operations, not in conflict with the New York City Charter. Subsection 2, Robert's Rules of Order shall govern all matters pertaining to parliamentary procedure that are not covered by these bylaws. The chair may appoint a parliamentarian who shall possess the most recent edition of Robert's Rules of Order at board meetings and who shall decide questions regarding rules of order. Subsection 3, the chair may appoint a sergeant at arms to assist the chair in maintaining the decorum of board members at community board meeting, and that is the end of the document. Now we're all of us.
I know, because it's already. Did we ever discuss under Article 8, Section 5, open meeting amended procedure, because I have an entire outline of the amended procedures, which I could not have written myself.
What are we talking about?
Article 8, Section 5, which doesn't exist in
Yeah.
the open meeting. So my question is,
What
why do I have it?
What section?
Section 5. There is no.
5, executive committee.
No.
Oh, that's article, sorry.
Article 8 meetings.
There's no 5.
Section 4 is committee meetings, and that's the last section in there. And I, for some reason, have Section 5, open meeting amended procedures, effective July 3rd, 2023, voted at the June 28th, 2020 board meeting. Yeah.
Open meeting law where.
Oh, that's when Michael said we couldn't place it.
We can't put this in the
No, Mike,
bylaws.
yeah, remember when I
Is that
sent
right?
in that email that the BP, you said no, that it would have, it has to be voted in.
Any amendments have to be voted.
Right.
Right.
Right,
But that's why he has it.
He had it in there because he was amending when I told him to add it in there,
Yeah.
he went upon, he
Took
did
it
me a
upon
favor.
himself, maybe?
No,
I don't
no,
know.
he did me a favor, he updated and then you were like, no,
Right.
we can't do that because we got,
Yeah.
so yes, that's why
Well,
you
that's why
have it.
we're all here.
yeah,
Yeah.
Presumably.
we can
Okay,
add it if
okay.
it still applies,
Okay.
even.
What does it say, section 5?
Section 5 says open meeting amendment procedures effective July, blah, blah, blah. Open meeting amended procedures provided by the New York State Open Meeting Law, Chapter 56 of the laws of 2022 as set forth in this resolution to permit modified hybrid meetings. That's A. Subsection 1, full board, committee, and task force meetings will be held in person. 2, meetings shall be held with some members attending remotely, but a quorum of board members must attend in person. 3, the circumstances or conditions under which members will be permitted to participate from remote locations are as follows. Circumstances should qualify as extraordinary. A, unexpected disability, illness, caregiving responsibilities, and weather conditions that prevent safe travel conditions for those with accessibility needs. B, medical condition creating vulnerability to COVID, verified with a doctor's note. 4, meeting procedures for remote attendance requires the following criteria. A, when a member attends virtually, the name and specific reasons for virtual attendance must be noted in the board minutes or audibly stated for the meeting recording when a note taker is not present. B, any member participating virtually cannot be counted towards quorum, but will be allowed to vote. C, any participating member appearing virtually must at all times be able to be heard, seen, and identified. That is, they must be continuously visible on video with identification. And D, the public and presenters will be permitted to attend remotely and participate. That's all I have.
So that section, what we did instead of adding it to the bylaws, we just created a letter or some type of document
Yeah.
stating those protocols and
Right.
placed it on the website. But with that being said, I think it's gonna be a mood swing because they're talking about this June coming up. There's not gonna be any more hybrid meetings. So then you're gonna have to amend your bylaws again. So if it doesn't happen in June, then maybe you guys can revisit it late for that section, but I think for me personally, I think it's just, you're gonna have, you might as well not even add it in there now.
It will
But
be
thank
moved.
you.
It goes into effect
In July first, yeah,
it may even be before then.
what, next calendar.
It's all about,
Yeah, because, I'm sorry.
Not with the way the numbers are, but go ahead.
well, what we think and what they think
Yeah,
is two
right,
different
right.
things, you know, seems like
Right.
everything's
And
going.
that's exactly what we're getting.
And to have that in there when it no longer applies,
We'd have.
some of it we'd then have to go change it back. We're forced again to change it back. So we'll probably, it's just me, my thought, leaving it out right now. And if it does come back and we're forced to do that, then add it at the later date. So whatever you guys think. All right,
Okay, just.
So we're gonna stop at 8, so we have
yeah,
a
we
half
can
hour.
start now.
Yeah.
Getting into the meat of the, why we're getting,
Mr. Chairman, tonight, I wasn't part of the last meeting.
yes.
All right. Section 3 of Article 2, membership. Right?
Mhm.
As long as I have been a member of this board, right? There has never been note in the minutes. There's always a note of who attended, but no vote who left early and who wasn't present at the call. But it says here, in order to be considered present at a board meeting, must be part of the first roll call of the evening, must sit in the deck, be voted unless they're extenuating, be present for the last part of the meeting. It's never, ever, ever been noted on the minutes. When I was chair, I used to write down when people were leaving. But it was never done. Well, in other words, either you can enforce it or get rid of it.
Got it. Okay, let's
Because
come back.
people come,
I don't know, I mean, I gave the office, but they have, I don't know, they have chosen not to use it. I use in my office a Dropbox on my Excel. And my Excel says left early, arrived early, you know, et cetera, and then it comes up with a little.
right,
Did you guys start using that or no? No, okay, so my Excel sheet that I presented to them, it has, like I said, a drop, and then that gives when we submit to the BP's office, it gives them an idea of who sneaks out, who sneaks in, you know, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera.
because there are a lot of people
Technically, your
that leave.
first roll call is consider your attendance, which is the minutes that you're approving. Not even when you come in after the speakers, because you could come in, speakers could speak for 20 minutes, but like, you know, for sure, the minute you take that first roll call. If they're not intending to use it, then maybe I agree with Marianne, get rid of it, but there should be some kind of tracking if people come in for one item, because that's the hot item of the day for them and want to go home,
And the people
or
who
has a
come in
regular,
late.
coming late and have also a regular routine of leaving early all the time.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do the end roll call and they don't respond, then
They're
they're not
absent.
there.
And they're
That's right.
Yeah, but
They
they're not,
don't know.
but they're not listed on the minutes that they weren't there at the roll call at the end. That's what I'm saying. How many people?
But on the Excel sheet, Marion, when we send in the Excel sheet to the borough president on the attendance of the committee members.
No, they don't do
No,
it.
they don't do it?
It just says she's not
It's
using
not
it.
done.
They don't use it.
Barbara, yeah.
Okay, not recently, but years ago, we were, asked to do. If they arrived 15 minutes after the start, we were to put down the start time. If they left early, it was to be indicated. That worked for, I don't remember, 6 months or so, and then Chuck said, you know what? if they're not there for the final roll call, then they're considered absent, which doesn't stand now because your votes won't be equal. If somebody's there for a vote, but leaves before the end of the meeting, anybody looking at it will see there's a discrepancy.
And you don't know if you have a quorum at that point, when they
As
leave.
long as you start a meeting with.
It doesn't matter how many people leave.
Well, as long as you have a quorum for the last meeting, for the last roll call, you have to have a quorum for
Well,
each.
that's what I'm
Start
saying.
a meeting with a quorum.
You don't, and you don't
You don't
have to end
a
it.
meeting with a quorum,
Really?
really.
Mhm.
But what if you have a vote?
Right,
What
But are
if
you
somebody-
gonna
have
have
to
a
vote
vote
on the
at
last
the end of
item.
the meeting, the
No, no.
last item?
yeah,
That's what I'm
so you have to
saying.
have a quorum.
If you go by what it says, Robert's Rules of How to Run a Meeting, does it matter how many people are listening to your good and welfare when you say have a great Christmas?
Well, that we don't care about, we're talking about the last
We're
roll
talking
call
about
for
if
vote.
something
Yeah.
comes up in new business
Right,
and they're not there, they left before
Then
new
you can't,
business.
right, you have to have
And
a
there's a
quorum.
vote, let's say on a licensing committee, and there's a vote and you don't have a quorum,
You can't vote on it.
we can't vote on it. We gotta bring it up to the next meeting.
Yeah, we're not
But
talking
how do
about
we
gonna
know
vote
if we have a quorum?
Cause
Well, Michael says does it matter that if you,
Don't, I will double check it.
right, okay,
But I believe that as long as you have a quorum to start your meeting, you continue with your meeting.
and I believe you have to have a quorum for each matter that you vote on.
Check. I'm not,
Correct.
double check.
yeah.
Marianne, what is your opinion on that?
My opinion is that if you come to the meeting, you stay to the end of it.
No, we're talking about
But you're talking about
every
if you
matter
put
must be
something,
voted with a quorum.
yeah,
Okay,
5 people are gonna decide at 9:30. Something?
yeah,
No, in other words, you watch, you
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see everybody, right?
yeah,
How many people leave before the end of the meeting?
about 5, 6. Okay,
Okay, but I think besides that, and we'll come back to it when we do the section,
Okay,
is that it is important that the office handles the attendance properly, beginning and end. Okay, and note when people are not present.
the Excel sheet that I gave the office to calculate the attendance is that the one you're using, but you're not using the Dropbox?
I never saw the one that you said.
Okay, Lucia would.
When you say Dropbox, you're talking about a pull down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the drop off.
Yeah.
that you use.
Guys. And it has, if they were to use that, it will also determine us the 25% of attending meetings. That, goes through the whole year, you left late, you came in, you went to the bathroom. So if you don't mind tomorrow, if not, I will send it to you. Because that needs to be done.
Alright, we need to pull it up and figure it out.
Okay,
Alright,
it just
wait.
needs to be done.
Before you go,
That was
we have
my
someone
skippy.
on, screen, Mark? I mean, this up.
Yeah, the civic engagement training said if you lose quorum during the meeting, you're supposed to stop the meeting. I'm saying that may not be. Borough president, that was the classes that I took a couple of months ago. Okay, that was it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
That might be the answer.
that's right.
Technically, you're not even supposed to start a meeting if you don't have a quorum, not even discussion, but, sometimes things get wiggled through the space, but as far as voting matters, I have to agree with, you need a quorum for every voting matter. Okay, so, sorry to interrupt you, Michael, let's move on.
thank you.
Okay, let's start here in Article 1. Territorial limits. Hold on one second. we might want to change Article 1 to this board shall service the community within the area designated on the community district map adopted by the Board of Estimate on December 23rd, 1976, or any successive map adopted in accordance with section 2702 of the city charter. And then goes on. Yeah, and get rid of the pound sign in front of 13. It's community board 13, not community board number 13. Okay, so the suggestion here is because there will be a review coming up and the possibility that community districts may be changed. Okay, so at least this will cover any change going forward where our current one does not.
Do you mind reading that? back
Yes,
one more
this board shall service the community,
Shall service or serve?
service,
time? Oh, service.
Service.
Okay.
the community within the area designated on the community district map adopted by the Board of Estimate on December 23rd, 1976, comma, or any successive map adopted in accordance with section 2702 of the city charter, comma. And the rest is the same and shall be known as Community Board 13 without the pound sign.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Well, since the Board of Estimate doesn't exist anymore. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
but
the
it-
city,
But it's something that was done by the Board of Estimate.
it's moved.
It's,
yeah,
yeah,
it
but
was done by the Board of Estimate in 1976. That's all it's related to.
Right, it's correct.
yeah,
Historically, correct. Okay.
Try to find it.
Well, look, it's the
wait a
basic-
second,
the
you know, I
basic-
have the original book.
I'm sure you do.
No, I got it from one of the board members who was
Mm.
retiring.
Okay.
So the original book that outlines all the duties and everything.
Just as a sideline, Michael.
Yeah.
Where were you notified that there could be a change in the,
It happens every 10 years.
every
You can
census?
look at it. Yeah,
The
after the
census?
census.
But they haven't changed it.
They didn't
Yeah.
change it this census. We got another 10 years.
And we'll all be out.
Not later than the first day of May 1994, and every 10th year thereafter, the mayor shall, and at such other times as the mayor deems appropriate. The mayor may prepare and present to the council a report reviewing the community district map, then enforce and presenting such recommendations for changes in the map as the mayor deems appropriate. This is territorial limits 2702 of the city charter.
Interesting.
So that means next year,
Mhm.
24.
If he
24.
decides, to-
Yeah.
if he
Yeah.
wants to do it.
He has too many things to worry about
Yeah,
right now.
he
Mayor.
does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
His plate is full.
very full.
Article 2 membership. Does anybody else have any changes to suggested
No,
changes
that's
to Article 1?
Do we need to vote on each section or
No.
no?
Well,
Okay, no, I don't know, I'm asking.
I don't think so.
No, okay.
because it's still discussion and then we can vote on the wholesale changes to cut it short and then bring it to
Sweet.
the board, okay? Article 2, membership. Anybody have any suggestions here? The, we heard from the borough president's office, whether it's excused or not, it's still an absence, correct?
Mm-hmm.
To have to say, why the person is out seems wrong, and an invasion of privacy to me. Okay, they're either excused or they're not, but the end of that discussion is, it really doesn't matter whether they're excused or not, because it's an absence. And if you follow the rules, our president told us this, right? Bruce?
Correct.
Okay, so to have to say why, for example, member A is not here due to health reasons.
Let me try to elaborate on that.
Well, hold on one second.
Okay.
As opposed to member A did call and did tell me that he or she could not make it. At least it shows an effort on their part, okay? As opposed to flipping us off that they don't want to be here. But especially with all this HIPAA stuff and things like that, to say that this person is undergoing treatment or this person is, I think is wrong.
Where is that at?
You're talking about members,
Membership.
membership.
I'm sorry, I don't know where it's at.
We're
It's at
on
number
page
5?
2,
No.
Article 2?
Oh, Article 2.
Article
Let me see
2.
it.
Right, but which section?
Section 3,
Oh,
I'm sorry, responsibility of members.
yeah, okay, I was on first page. Okay.
Hmm,
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay.
you say the amendment.
Okay.
3C,
Let me see.
a board member will be excused from
Oh.
board or committee meetings for the following reasons: military service, jury duty, illness, death in the family or household, attending to board business at the request of the chair by discretion of the chair. So in shorthand, I wrote an absence is an absence. Doesn't matter why they miss one. It still counts the same.
I don't know how you would write, sorry to interrupt you. I don't know how you would write it, but this is what we were told. We were told an absence is an absence. So if you don't call, you don't say nothing, you're absent. But if you call and you say, I don't feel well, it could be an excused absence at the discretion of the chair. And in addition, if it's a long-term excused absence, you are to notify us in the BP's office. For example, if someone breaks their leg and they're out for a few months, they would consider that as quote unquote excuse and not technically an absence. I don't know how you want to phrase it.
Yeah, but that's letting you and the district manager know, as opposed to the whole board, is very different.
I was speaking, no, I mean the board. Did I say the board? No. Or did I say the borough president's
No, it's
office?
Okay, you and the borough president's office.
If it's an extensive leave of absence, you would have to notify the BP's office. They won't approve it.
Right.
Because what they did was with a board member, what they did, they rolled it back to me. They said, go back to your bylaws, and if you keep excusing that person, once we receive their attendance records, it's going to say 10 times excused, and we want to know why. Was it because they
Right.
called every month and they told
Oh,
her,
that's
or
a-
was it because they broke their leg?
But don't I understand it that the reason for their absence is supposed to be noted in the minutes?
Where does it say?
No,
Hold on.
we don't-
Mm-mm.
think so.
No?
No,
No, well, in the
no,
minutes.
people are just listed.
Just
as-
absent.
Just absent,
It just listed as absent.
Okay.
It's a,
but it does say
No,
excuse.
it said, I apologize, what Jack was reading, I think you got that in your head, what he said when you're on the screen. You have to present yourself as to why you were
Yeah, okay.
allowed to,
That wasn't it.
Okay.
Oh, right, that's a totally different.
okay,
No,
but
that's
that's where I
different,
was
yeah.
taking it from. No, I tell members of an extensive lengthy time that you're intending to, we then send it to the BP's office, just so they know that Lucy broke her leg and won't be around for the next 6 months,
Right,
but that's still an absence
yes,
to them. You know, but it's off the record, we will consider it because, you know, you've always been goody-goody.
you're,
I don't know how to say it, but
I
you,
wouldn't change anything because first of all, it's
Thank
just a
you.
list of reasons. It doesn't mean that you have to report exactly that reason to the board or to anybody else. And then you don't know who's gonna be next in BP office and it might change soon, so. No, I mean, like. you
no,
don't
I'm
know the
laughing because
next- the
it
next
does
rules.
change every 5 minutes over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Does
Make a
change.
change for every, they will call you tomorrow and tell you, excuse absence now. You see nothing specific here that we will have to touch.
okay, so a suggestion was a board member will be excused from board or committee meetings by discretion of the chair is not enough. We want to leave it the way it is now. Naming
I leave it to
what
you
we
guys.
name.
I leave it up to you
We
guys.
don't have to name it, it just is a list of reasons.
Well, we
can
currently,
remove it.
we do currently name it.
Military
That's
service.
up to us, it doesn't say in the bylaws that we have to name it.
Yes, it does.
It
Well,
does.
it
All right.
says for the following reasons: military service, jury duty, illness, death in the family or household, attending other meetings.
I
That's
actually like Craig's picture.
C. Do we want to leave that?
We
Or
can
do we
remove
wanna
doesn't
change it?
matter.
Hmm?
It's internal, we can remove it. I think.
Well, if we have to, okay, but we
Yes.
just can't do it because we want to. It now has to go to the full board to vote on, so we need to make them aware of it. If we make a change, that's all. Bobby?
just a question. When we do the attendance, when I type the attendance, they're present and absent. We don't put when they're absent, except for if they're excused, why they're absent. Absent is absent, not a cold or the flu, okay? It's just excused. The only thing that we put down is excused. And that's by the
Right,
decision of the chair. So I think what we.
so
Right,
that's the
but-
question is, do we want this or do we not want this? The way it is
I
now.
leave it to the history people here.
Makes no sense because they put excuse, anyway, they don't put specific reason.
I think if we're gonna continue using excused, I think it's important to have that, because if she denies somebody, she could say, well, it's outlined that it has to be military service or jury duty or death in the family or.
No, it's the discretion of the chair can do whatever chair wants.
Or the discretion of the
Why?
chair. All right, so expand the criteria. Right, I had surgery. There was no way in hell I was leaving my apartment for a while.
You're excused. There's
That's an
nobody's
illness.
business.
Excused.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
So-
covered.
I'm thinking of words after jury duty and it says illness. It should be lengthy illness.
And
Excuse me?
recovery. And
Well,
recovery.
Something like that, because illness, I've had people call me and say, and they stay home. And then the following month, my toe. And then the following month, my eyeball. You know,
You see them on Facebook the next day.
and sometimes I'm like, okay, whatever, you're not feeling what you're coughing, I get it. Okay, because I don't know how you're
So-
ill.
You don't want that person in the meeting.
How severe it is, but I think it should say instead of just illness, because that means if you're calling me that you have a cold, you're absent, period. But if it elaborates saying length of illness or
Or
something to what
lengthy-
she was saying,
she said
lengthy,
lengthy illness.
it would be better than I'm calling because I'm sneezing today. So you're absent, too bad.
May be excused, not will be excused. may be excused for the following reason, and then it's up to the chair, so something like,
Well, yeah, you're right, will be, it should say may, you're right.
Maybe, excused, that's it.
You that word may is a big
Okay.
word.
Maybe, excused,
So,
and then you can deal with the,
okay. So can we change C? Do we wanna leave out the list and just write a board member may be excused from board or committee meetings by the discretion of the chair? Or we don't wanna go that far and, cause at the end of the day, it doesn't matter anyway.
I think you're right. Why make it complicated?
I don't know, I think it's fine to give some kind of examples, but I think the word illness should be
Lengthy.
Yeah.
a little longer. And not this mental stuff that you have a home and you want your, what do they call that, mental day or when? Mental health day, you know, mental board meeting day, I don't know what to say.
Some that go through that would take offense to that though. Okay, no.
I'm not saying, I'm
You know,
just saying
So
that,
that's why I'm saying to keep us out of trouble. And the bottom line, it goes to the chair, period, to begin with
Right.
and
What's
to
the
end with.
difference?
So why don't we just say a board member may be excused from board or committee meetings by the discretion of the chair?
At the discretion.
I like the
You
idea.
still think this. You can have a really bad cold.
And if being, very oblique or obscure, maybe, and it doesn't want that information.
When I say lengthily, they don't have to disclose it, but if you call me the following month and you say, if you call me April and say, listen, I'm not feeling well, I don't want to disclose what it is, I don't want to say they have surgery, okay. But when you call me the second month, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to say something to me that's gonna justify when someone questions me.
To you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, around this universal CB13, someone would say, because I like Michael Silverman a lot.
Think,
Well, I won't be chair, but all the chair.
and I think it's important that we remind our members that they should be calling the office if they're not going to show. At least it shows that they're making an effort and they care a little bit, as opposed to just not showing up.
Most of them do, I think now.
Okay,
I think now,
most.
yeah.
But that's a very questionable, depending on the committee or the general board minute meeting.
Okay,
The other
Okay.
thing is, if you
so
really
back to
wanna
the,
question it, a doctor's note. you
we're not
put
asking
that
for a
as
doctor's note.
No, instead of putting illness on it, if you want it after the second month. You could say to the member, you've been out, this is the second month. We need some kind of a formal,
I can't ask that,
No,
no chair,
can't
no
ask
one can
that.
ask you that. No one
That's,
can ask that.
that's,
No, but you can talk, you can
Yeah.
talk to the person as you normally, the chair can talk to the person as they normally would. Hey, I'm not prying, but you think this is gonna be a long-term thing or?
Example, I just
That's
asked you to reach out to a
that's
member
all.
today and say how much longer, okay. So, I don't know, I leave it to,
for.
it's 8 o'clock. I leave it to everyone, I'm fine with
Is there
leaving
anything
it.
in the city charter that mentions this type of protocols? Or you don't know?
Not aware.
no idea.
For me, I leave it up to everyone. I just, if you wanna leave it all there, it's fine with me, but just stretch illness. But if you wanna remove it
You shouldn't
altogether,
have to determine whether it's short or long-term illness.
so
An absence is an absence at the end of the day.
right, but
But also you're putting the chair in a position of making maybe a medical decision.
Contrary, we're taking her out of that position.
Well, if I call up Lucy and say, I hurt my toe. Okay, 1 month. And then the next month, Lucy, my toe is still infected.
But my
I can't
point is,
walk.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's an absence.
It's an absence.
That's it. You're taking her out of that.
Where's the
Or-
liability? What are you liable for? To
nothing.
have discretion to excuse him. You have zero
But
liability.
even if I'm sorry, Jack.
That's all. That's all,
apologize.
sir. No, let's go ahead.
But even to excuse, it doesn't matter, it counts to your total.
It does, but then it doesn't if you have reasoning of, for example, everybody knows, right? For
Right.
example, she had a medical procedure done, she had surgery. So if it's an excused absence or whatever you want to call it, it justifies it when her renewal comes up.
Right, which is the borough president's
Right,
decision,
so we need to.
not us.
Mr. Borough President can then ask for a medical
Right.
documentation.
And
Okay,
I can show him the scar.
Very
So my only concern with this one, that the way it's worded right now, that's out of the discretion of the chair for any of these reasons, you don't need a chair to excuse you. So right now, if you, like jury duty, military service, whatever, you automatically, you just let them know, you don't need an extra decision on that one. That's what it says right now. So those reasons that states right now, you just let the board know, it's filled automatically, without even chair agreeing to it. That's what it says,
That's what it says,
but
but
we will
it's-
remove it.
but it still doesn't matter.
Yeah, I understand it. It still
Yeah, so
doesn't
that's
matter.
why
It's still-
you're still absent.
so how about not saying the following reasons, just say,
Yes.
example.
No example,
No.
let's.
Okay, done.
Make it-
You guys do,
But
I
the
leave
other
it
says-
to,
Same thing.
Consider
Done.
never to be excused.
Then change
So
E2.
right now, it's gonna be only at the chair's discretion.
Okay.
Period.
period, okay,
Okay.
I go with the majority. I won't be around.
Okay. Is there,
Yeah, and you're right, E is the
E,
same.
you
the
gotta
same-
change E
same
the same
situation.
way.
right,
I'm sorry, you said E, what is changing in E, taking
The
the
same
following
thing.
reasons? Okay.
The only exception shall
Okay.
be for the following.
So,
right.
but it also says any committee members who miss 2 consecutive committee meetings shall automatically be removed. That has not been done.
shame on us,
So may automatically be removed,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay?
because we'll have to dismount the whole board. If we follow that. Okay,
But at least if we have to, you have some ammunition to back you up,
yes.
right? Because
Yes.
otherwise then it's toothless if you just remove it all.
But you cannot say may automatically be removed, may be removed.
Maybe,
Right.
right.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Although, right,
Maybe.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if that one does either.
And we're gonna earn that Article 3 because Jack has to leave.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any, let's go, do we have any changes to F?
Yes, just I think the board shouldn't that be a small T on the board?
Mm,
It shouldn't be the board, it's small
you're
T,
right.
small B. However, whereas the conflict, the board shall.
Does that,
It says parentheses, the
all
board.
right, I know you have to leave, but,
Ah,
I change to others.
okay, you're
all
right.
right, with F,
Changing them all. That's not a problem.
with F, okay? I think we should further define a recusal. Because there are many votes where people just start recusing themselves.
please.
Someone
Well,
will,
this time I wanted to throw my shoe at
I
somebody.
wasn't recusing, she
They
was
don't-
abstaining.
they don't understand that, they don't understand what an abstention is.
The worst is the abstention. Recusers, they kind of getting it because Michael jumps up and says, excuse me, what's the interest? And I say it as well, but the abstentions is ridiculous. They're scared to speak, so they should. I zipped it up.
Okay, so we're leaving off at the end of Article 2. Okay.
We're still in G. We didn't go to G, so the board shall. It's in the.
Yeah, but that's fine.
She is fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, we're finishing, we're stopping in a minute. He has to. Okay, so we stopped here.
Okay. The next meeting is November.
Do you want us to go on without you, but you're the main meat in editing this?
To be honest with you, if I could do it remotely, I can do this just as well remotely. You don't need my vote. You got enough bodies here to fill a, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Because otherwise it's gonna take until,
Christmas.
2025.
I don't want to contribute to any delay.
Are you going, you think you're gonna be able to actually hear what we're saying? I don't know. Is it, ask Mark, Mark, can you hear us clearly?
Most of the time, you, Lucy, cut out every now and then, and I don't know if it's you or you're cutting out.
Okay, so
But-
I think, so for me, it's fine. I think what he would do is just let us know he's not hearing what we're saying.
I'll make every effort to come if it's not an
But
inconvenience.
but we would like to add an extra time. If we do an hour, it's just gonna, we'll be here
Oh,
to,
I see. Yeah.
I wanna respect one of the main people. Okay, so next month, if that's what you, next week, if you wanna do that, as long as you can hear us clearly,
Yeah, good.
because you're my editor. He's my editor.
If I don't hear you, I'll ask.
Okay,
That's
cool.
all.
Okay,
That's true, yeah.
and then we'll have enough people, right? How many you need?
Exactly.
How many we need?
We'll put both of the owls, so we'll be able to hear.
We need how many
It's even
people?
better.
Yeah, we'll combine them.
How many we need for a quorum?
Okay.
Five.
One, two,
We
three,
got it.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, and then maybe, Lena will be here. Perfect. Yeah. Is that way we could pick it for 2 hours?
Said we'll have both at this one, so that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, if that's what he wants to do.
So you'll get the notices tomorrow. I didn't want to send out today because people were picked the wrong button, saying that it was tonight's meeting, which is next week's meeting. So you're gonna get the meeting notice.
So next
You're
week,
gonna change something, the website still says that the meeting's, December meeting?
Yeah, 27th.
No, the November,
But it's a 29th.
this 29th, and I think it still says the Lutheran Church.
it is Luther.
No, December. December.
It's in the
December.
aquarium. Is it, where is it?
December. The first.
No, I thought I saw the aquarium today. He's been very good with the website.
Maybe I got.
December, I put the. Yeah.
September.
December 1. Next week.
If I could have him here for another year, he'll redo that whole website like a real website. Okay, meeting adjourned. May we get a second?
Thank
Oh, I can't. Oh, I could.
you. Oh, you can,
you can make motion.
I can make motion.
but you can't vote.
to adjourn.
Can't vote.
Okay, let's get them going. Who's gonna?
Second.
Hey,